Should the Green Party's new pro-Palestine councillors be expelled? It's time for our head-to-head. And the Green Party's been forced to launch an investigation after concerns were raised about the behaviour of some of their new pro-Palestine councillors voted in at the local elections over the weekend. So this was Councillor Motin Ali's celebration after he won in Leeds.
Raise the voice of Palestine! Allahu Akbar!
Reports have since emerged stating that Ali played a pivotal role in the hounding of the Jewish chaplain at the University of Leeds, Rabbi Zachariah Deutsch, who went into hiding after receiving threats from pro-Palestine activists because he served with the Israeli army. But it's not just Motin Ali, apparently. Green Party councillor in Bristol, Mohammed Makawi, claimed in social media posts that Hamas's massacre of innocent Israelis was an American Zionist lie. And another Green councillor, Imtiaz Ali, branded Zionists as nothing more than common thieves, willing to massacre thousands in the process. That was in a Facebook post last December. So look, tonight I am asking, should these candidates be immediately expelled from the Green Party? Going head-to-head on this are the chairman of the National Jewish Assembly, Gary Mond, and the co-founder of the Muslim Debate Initiative, Abdullah Al-Andalusi. Gary, I'll start with you. What's your view? Should they be expelled?
My view is that anybody in politics of whatever party who advocates any form of violence has got no place in public life and no place in a major political party like the Green Party. When you shout Allahu Akbar, I appreciate that means God is great, but it is the shout that's used by Hamas terrorists and others who kill Jews in Israel. Allahu Akbar. If you shout that, you have no place in politics.
Abdullah, your views on that then?
Firstly, I think that's quite ridiculous because Allahu Akbar is what Muslims say every time they pray. It means God is great. It's a Semitic word. Allah is a Semitic word. Jesus would have said a word similar to that. And it's simply just an exaltation. It should not be associated with people who commit terrorist acts. In fact, just as we would be anti-Semitic to blame all Jews for the act of Israel, it would be also anti-Muslim to demonize a Muslim exaltation of prayer simply because there are some individuals in the world that haven't used it improperly.
Does it change that slightly, Abdullah, when the whole point of him standing is as he says, for Gaza and for Palestine? Does it change that? Because, I mean, I'm not hearing any kind of denunciation of Hamas there. So is there a context there when it comes to shouting that or not?
Well, it would appear that his platform is anti-genocide, pro-Palestinian rights, and he campaigned on that platform to guarantee the rights of British people, presumably, to be able to protest free from government harassment, demonisation, and the attempt to curb people's democratic rights in the UK to do demonstrations and protests. But as for the issue of him simply presenting his religious beliefs alongside his political campaigning, I mean, no one would complain that Katie Forbes, who is vocally Christian, represents her Christian beliefs, Minister for the Scottish Parliament, that no one would say, at least on the right-wing spectrum, would say that she should be limited and restricted or should be condemned for mentioning her Christian beliefs.
I get what you mean, but unfortunately people did condemn it, and the whole gay marriage stuff was one of the reasons why initially she was unsuccessful. Well, Gary, your views on this? I mean, the shout of Allahu Akbar, right, that's one thing. What do you reckon about the kind of relentless, the pro-Palestine stuff, the idea that they're saying, we're coming for you, the Labour Party, and all of those things?
I think it's a real tragedy that local politics has been interfered in by religious fanaticism. That is the tragedy for our country, and that's the big picture. And I really absolutely condemn it. The involvement of this. There are far more important local issues that affect constituencies all over the country, and people have been voting in the elections, and to suddenly have the events of 2,000 miles away brought into play as an election issue is tragic in our country.
And Abdullah, it's not really all about Palestine, is it? We saw very quickly the MuslimVote.co.uk issuing a list of 18 demands to the Labour leader. One of those was to be bang in favour of Sharia pensions, for example. I mean, what's all that about?
No, well, firstly, religion doesn't have anything to do about it. Anyone who has any humanitarian bone in their body would feel sorry for the plight of the Palestinians.
But what's the Sharia pension got to do?
They have been denied their independence for 77 years.
Okay.
Under the justification that Jewish Europeans have a better right to Palestine than native Palestinians.
My point is,
what about all the Arab Jews who came to Israel when it was formed? It's not Jewish European country.
Well, who set up the Zionist movement in the first place? It was Jewish Europeans.
One at a time.
Wait.
Let him finish and then we'll go to you.
When the state of Israel was established, there wasn't many Arab Jews in Israel anyway. We're talking about who set up the Zionist movement. It was Jewish Europeans who argued that they have a superior right to native Palestinians.
Can I just stop us here? Because actually what I am talking about is the potential for a new religious movement within British politics, which is directly relevant to this. And certain things like the Sharia pensions, for example, that to me seems like, is it one step away? The natural progression from that, I suppose, would arguably be things like blasphemy laws. And is that what happens when you get more councillors standing and winning on a overtly Muslim ticket?
Wait, Sharia pensions this is a red herring. There are, Judaism-compliant pensions in the UK, which is no one would say, oh no, Jewish law has come to the UK. You'd be condemned as an anti-Semite for that, rightfully so. So likewise, if people want to voluntarily enter into contractual agreements for pensions, which are just Sharia compliant, how's that an issue if it's voluntary, it's consensual, no one's being forced to it? If other religions get that privilege too, well, it's not even a privilege, it's just a simple, basic civil right. So I think bringing religion into this is a big red herring to distract from the issue that British people want to have their rights protected when they are demonstrating and protesting against a genocide happening across the world that Britain has been involved with.
Gary, in your view, is it really all about Palestine, do you think?
No, I think if you look at the 18 requests, the 18 demands from the Muslim vote, there's a great deal of worry, which I think Jews and Christians and others will feel alike, in the requirement for legislation to make Islamophobia an offence, because I think that it's perfectly OK to criticise Judaism, it's perfectly OK to criticise Christianity, and it must also be perfectly OK to criticise Islam in certain situations.
So do you think then homophobia should be legalised as well then?
I don't believe homophobia should be legalised.
So then why Islamophobia is an issue for you that you think, because that shouldn't be legalised, but not homophobia? It's not about the criticism of Islam, it's the criticism of Muslims for being Muslim. That is the issue. The term, that's what simply it means. So if we have definitions of anti-Semitism that include the criticism of Israel, which is ridiculous, right, then surely we should be for criticising Muslims for simply being Muslim and for demonising Muslims and scaremongering Muslims for simply just wanting the same civil rights as every other people in this country.
Parallel to anti-Semitism is anti-Muslim hatred, and I totally condemn all forms of anti-Muslim hatred.
OK, look, guys, can we just park it? Because we are going to just chat now quickly, albeit, but about the ongoing situation in Rafah. So Israel's invasion of Rafah has begun. We have a live shot of it right now. So as we understand it anyway, it's a ground invasion. We think it started a couple of hours ago. Ceasefire talks broke down. I think this is quite possibly going to have big consequences here in Britain. Again, we've spoken a lot about the councillors there. We've spoken a lot about some of the protests taking place. Abdullah, how do you feel when you see what's going on over here?
Well, ceasefire talks haven't broken down. Apparently, Hamas has agreed to the proposal that was given to them, and the question is now the ball's in the court of Benjamin Netanyahu and his government, who, with right-wing pressure, are told to continue military operations despite any ceasefire agreement. He's facing that pressure, and most likely he won't care. As he stated before, it won't matter at all to his military campaign to whatever ceasefire agreement is agreed. Gary,
is what's going to happen now justified?
Yes, absolutely. A fundamental requirement of Israel is the elimination of Hamas. To for us ever have peace in the region, Hamas has to go, and this is a necessary step taken to ensure that Hamas does go. And what happened was when it seemed that Hamas was agreeing, they were agreeing with an amended Egyptian-Qatari proposal, which didn't take account of Israel's requirement for Hamas to be removed.
Hamas are a symptom of a very long problem. Hamas wasn't there from 1948, the beginning of Israel. Palestinian resistance has been for 77 years. Right, Hamas is only some recent newcomer that Benjamin Netanyahu himself argued was useful for him to deny the Palestinians a state.
But they do have to go. The issue
is who? Sorry,
Hamas. They've got to go, right?
I think that the ICC should put arrest warrants for everyone who's participated in genocide and killing civilians, including the Israeli government and so on.
But what about Hamas, though?
Yeah.
Well, let the ICC issue arrest warrants to everyone and indict them in court. If they have nothing to worry, if they are innocent, they have nothing to worry. They should be arrested. Anyone who's ordered the killing of civilians should be arrested. That includes the Israeli government also have killed far more civilians, including women and children, than Hamas ever have.
This is a war that was started by Hamas. It must be finished.
No, it was a war started by Israel 50, 60 years ago.
Ridiculous.
And they have blockaded Gaza.
5 Arab armies attacked Israel in 1948.
They were bombing Gaza in May last year. Forget 5 months before the 7th of October. They've been bombing Gaza consistently.
OK, well, look, we obviously could carry this on all night. Thank you very, very much. And hopefully we'll pick this up again.